Welcome, everyone. Today, you are going to hear the real story of Ferrari. Not just a company story, not just a car story. This is a story about a human being who refused to live an ordinary life. It is about a boy who saw speed for the first time and never forgot that feeling. It is about sacrifice, failure, pride, discipline, loss, and obsession. And it is about how one name became a symbol the whole world respects. And yes, this story will improve your English too. Because I'm going to tell it in very clear, simple English, step by step, like a movie. You will naturally learn new words, understand real-life sentences, and train your listening skills. So if you want to grow your English and your mindset together, stay with me till the end of this series. And before we start, subscribe to our channel. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories. We build confidence. We build discipline. We build English. And we build a stronger mind. Part 1. The Boy Who Fell in Love with Speed. Italy, early 1900s. This was not the Italy you see today. Life was simple, but hard. Most families were not rich. Work was physical. Days were long. Dreams were small because survival was the main goal. In this world, a boy was born who did not want a small life. His name was Enzo Ferrari. He was born in a small city called Modena. His family was not famous. They were not powerful. They were normal people. But inside Enzo, something was not normal. He had a hunger that did not let him sleep peacefully. Even as a child, Enzo was not the kind of boy who was satisfied with good enough. He wanted something bigger, even if he couldn't explain it with words. And then one day, something happened that changed his brain forever. Enzo's father took him to watch a car race. Now imagine this carefully. Enzo is just a small boy. He stands in the crowd. People around him are shouting. There is dust in the air. The ground shakes a little. And then the cars come. Fast, loud, dangerous. The sound is not like music. It is like a wild animal running through the street. The smell is strong. The wind hits his face. Everyone screams when the cars pass. In that moment, the boy does not just watch racing. He feels it inside his body. And something inside him wakes up. He understands one big truth for the first time. Some people are born to live quietly. But some people are born to chase something bigger. From that day, Enzo's heart was connected to racing. Not because it looked cool, because it felt like life, because it felt like purpose. But here is the painful part. Enzo's dream was huge, and his reality was small. He was not born into a rich racing family. He was not surrounded by powerful people. And in those days, becoming a racer was not easy. Most people around him probably thought, be normal, get a job, live quietly. But Enzo had a different voice inside his head. It said, if you live like everyone else, you will die from the inside. So he started learning. Not in a classroom, in real life. He watched machines. He listened to engines. He became curious about how speed is created. He did not just want to drive. He wanted to understand. That is a powerful mindset. Because many people want the result. Very few people want to understand the process. As Enzo grew up, life became heavy. There were difficult times in Italy. The world was changing. Work was not guaranteed. The future was unclear. And then war came. War does not only destroy cities. It destroys plans. It destroys normal life. Many people lose hope in war. Many people become mentally weak. But some people become mentally sharp. Because when life becomes uncertain, you have two choices. 1. Become scared and small. 2. become serious and strong. Enzo became serious, and then tragedy hit him personally. His father died. His brother died. Imagine that pain. A young man carrying grief, carrying loss, carrying pressure, and still trying to build a future. Most people would stop dreaming after that. But Enzo's dream did not die. It became darker, more intense, more serious. Because sometimes pain does not destroy you. Sometimes pain builds the strongest version of you. Enzo needed work. He needed a path. So he started looking for a job in the car industry. And when he finally got a chance, he took it seriously. He began working with cars in different ways, learning how things work, learning the world, learning how people think, learning how machines survive pressure. And slowly he moved closer to his real goal, racing, not as a fantasy, as real life. Enzo eventually became a racing driver. Enzo was not a perfect driver. He was not the greatest champion behind the wheel, and that could have broken him. Because many people think, if I'm not the best, I should quit. But Enzo thought differently. He realized something deep. Maybe his real gift was not only driving. Maybe his real gift was building something bigger than himself. A team, a system, a culture, a legacy. This is where Ferrari truly begins. Not with a car, with a mindset shift. By the time Enzo reached his 20s, he had already learned 3 powerful truths. 1. Life will not give you an easy start. 2. Pain will come, even when you don't deserve it. 3. If you still keep moving forward, you become dangerous. In a good way. And Enzo kept moving. He started stepping deeper into the racing world, not only as a driver, but as someone who understood the bigger picture. He observed everything. How races are won, how teams are built, how machines are improved, how drivers break under pressure, how discipline creates victory. And without knowing it, he was preparing to create something that the world would never forget. Part 2. The man who stopped driving and started building a legend. Enzo Ferrari was no longer just a young dreamer. He had pain behind him. He had experience inside him. And he had fire in his chest. He had raced. He had seen victory. He had seen failure. And slowly, he understood something very important. He was not meant to be remembered as a driver. He was meant to be remembered as a creator. This is a powerful moment in any person's life. When you realize, I am not just here to participate. I am here to build something. That realization changed Enzo forever. Enzo continued working in the racing world and became deeply connected with Alfa Romeo, one of Italy's major car manufacturers at the time. He did not just sit in the car anymore. He organized teams. He selected drivers. He studied machines. He improved performance. He started thinking bigger. Instead of asking, how can I win? He started asking, how can we win? That small change in thinking is what separates workers from leaders. And Enzo was becoming a leader. He was serious, strict, demanding. If a mechanic was careless, he noticed. If a driver was mentally weak, he noticed. If a car lacked power, he demanded improvement. He believed one thing very strongly. Racing is not about luck. Racing is about preparation. And this mindset became the foundation of Ferrari. In 1929, Enzo created something that would change history. He founded a racing team called Scuderia Ferrari. At this time, Ferrari was not yet building its own cars. Scuderia Ferrari operated cars for Alfa Romeo. It prepared racing vehicles. It managed drivers. It organized racing strategy. But here is what most people don't understand. Scuderia Ferrari was not just a team. It was a laboratory of excellence. Enzo treated racing like war preparation. Every detail mattered. Engine tuning, weight balance, driver focus, pit strategy, timing. He built a culture where average performance was unacceptable. And slowly, the name Ferrari began to grow inside the racing world. Not as a luxury brand, as a serious competitor. This was the real beginning. Not money, not fame, performance. During this time, Enzo adopted the famous symbol that would later become one of the most recognized logos in the world, the prancing horse. This symbol originally came from a World War I fighter pilot named Francesco Baracca. His family encouraged Enzo to use the symbol for good luck. Enzo added the yellow background, the color of Modena, his hometown. That horse was not chosen randomly. It represented power, energy, movement, freedom. Even before Ferrari built road cars, the identity was forming. Strong, proud, unapologetic. For years, Enzo worked closely with Alfa Romeo. But Enzo was not a man who liked to stay in someone else's shadow. He had respect, but he also had ego, and ego, when controlled, can become ambition. Tension grew between Enzo and Alfa Romeo management. Different visions, different priorities. Finally, in 1939, Enzo left Alfa Romeo. This was a dangerous move. He was leaving security. He was leaving stability. He was leaving a known path. Most people stay comfortable. Enzo stepped into uncertainty. And that is the moment when real entrepreneurs are born. After leaving Alfa Romeo, Enzo founded a company called Auto Avio Costruzioni. Because of legal agreements, he was not allowed to use the Ferrari name for a few years. Imagine that. You have your dream, you have your identity, but you are not allowed to use your own name. Many people would feel insulted. Many people would feel defeated. But Enzo stayed patient. He knew something powerful. If your work is strong enough, your name will not matter. Your results will speak. In 1940, his company built its first car, the Auto Avio Costruzioni 815. It competed in a race. This was not yet officially called a Ferrari, but spiritually, it was. It carried Enzo's vision, his discipline, his obsession. However, history interrupted again. World War II intensified. Racing stopped. Factories were affected. Italy faced serious challenges. Enzo moved operations to Maranello, a small town that would later become the heart of Ferrari. This move was extremely important. Maranello became more than a factory location. It became sacred ground. Even today, Maranello is the emotional center of Ferrari. During the war, production slowed. Factories were damaged. Resources were limited. But Enzo did not quit. He adjusted production. He focused on survival. He prepared silently. This period built Ferrari's mental toughness. Because building during good times is easy. Building during crisis creates legends. After the war ended, Enzo could finally use his own name. And in 1947, the first official Ferrari car was born. The Ferrari 125S. It had a V12 engine. Why V12? Because Enzo believed in power, balance, and engineering excellence. The car debuted in May 1947. Did it win immediately? No. The first race ended in mechanical failure. And here comes a very important moment. Many companies would feel embarrassed. Many leaders would panic. Enzo called it a promising failure. Think about that phrase. Promising failure. That is the mindset of greatness. He did not see defeat. He saw potential. Soon after, the 125S began winning races. And when Ferrari started winning, something changed in the racing world. The name Ferrari began to carry weight. People started saying it with respect. Now understand this clearly. Ferrari was never built to be a mass-market car. It was built to dominate racing. Road cars were later created mainly to fund racing activities. Enzo's priority was always the track. Victory, competition, proof. He believed racing improves engineering. If a car can survive the track, it can survive anything. That philosophy shaped everything. Every Ferrari road car carried racing DNA. Speed, precision, aggression. Enzo was not soft. He was emotionally intense. He expected perfection. Drivers feared him. Engineers respected him. He rarely showed weakness. He believed that emotion must be controlled in business. This personality helped Ferrari grow. But it also created tension. Because greatness often comes with pressure. And Enzo applied pressure constantly. Ferrari was no longer just an idea. It was no longer just a racing team in Italy. It was now a name that had tasted victory. But Enzo Ferrari was not satisfied with small victories. He did not want to be strong only in local races. He wanted Ferrari to stand on the biggest stage in the world. And that stage was Formula One. In 1950, the Formula One World Championship officially began. This was not just another racing event. This was the highest level of motorsport. The fastest drivers, the most advanced machines, the most intense pressure. And Ferrari was there from the very beginning. Ferrari is the only team that has competed in Formula One continuously since the first championship in 1950. Think about that. Many teams came and disappeared. Many brands failed. Many companies gave up. Ferrari stayed, year after year, win or lose. That consistency built respect. At first, Ferrari had to fight hard. The competition was fierce. Other manufacturers were strong. Mistakes were expensive. But Enzo believed in long-term dominance. And in 1952, Ferrari won its first Formula One World Championship with driver Alberto Ascari. That victory was not just a trophy. It was proof. Proof that Ferrari belonged at the top. And once Ferrari reached the top, it did not want to come down. For Enzo Ferrari, racing was not marketing. It was personal. When Ferrari won, he felt alive. When Ferrari lost, he felt angry. He studied every defeat. He questioned every engineer. He demanded improvement. His standards were extreme, but extreme standards create extraordinary results. Ferrari became known for powerful engines, especially its V12 designs. The sound of a Ferrari engine became emotional. It was not just mechanical noise. It was passion. It was pride. It was Italian fire. But racing in the 1950s and 1960s was extremely dangerous. Cars were fast, but safety was limited. Drivers risked their lives every time they stepped into the cockpit. Ferrari experienced victories, but Ferrari also experienced tragedy. Some drivers lost their lives. Accidents happened. Families suffered. These moments affected Enzo deeply. But he rarely showed emotion publicly. He believed racing required courage. He believed drivers understood the risks. This period built Ferrari's reputation as fearless. Ferrari was not safe. Ferrari was intense. And intensity attracted legends. Now the story becomes dramatic. In the early 1960s, Ferrari faced financial pressure. Racing was expensive. Building road cars helped fund racing, but it was not always enough. At this time, Ford Motor Company from America approached Ferrari. Ford wanted to buy Ferrari. Negotiations began. For Enzo, this was complicated. Selling could bring stability, but selling could also mean losing control. Talks continued. Everything seemed close to agreement. But then something happened. Enzo realized that under the deal, Ford would control Ferrari's racing decisions. That was unacceptable. Racing was his soul. So at the last moment, Enzo walked away. He refused the deal. Ford was furious. Henry Ford II felt insulted. And from that moment, a rivalry was born. Ford decided to defeat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And in 1966, Ford's GT40 defeated Ferrari. For Ferrari, this loss was painful. But here is the powerful lesson. When pride is attacked, true competitors grow stronger. Ferrari did not disappear. Ferrari rebuilt. Ferrari fought back. While racing continued, Ferrari's road cars became more and more iconic. Cars like the 250 series became famous for both beauty and performance. Ferrari was not producing thousands of cars. Production was limited. Exclusivity became part of the brand. Owning a Ferrari meant something special. It meant you valued performance over comfort. It meant you understood speed. It meant you appreciated engineering as art. Ferrari cars were not easy to drive. They demanded respect. And that is why they were loved. Enzo was not a simple man. He was private, serious, intense. He often wore dark glasses. He did not smile easily. He rarely gave full trust. He demanded loyalty. But he also protected Ferrari fiercely. He believed Ferrari must never become ordinary, never become mass production, never lose its racing spirit. He once said that Ferrari road cars exist to fund racing. That tells you everything. For him, racing was the heart. Everything else was support. As the years passed, Ferrari continued growing. But growth requires resources. In 1969, Fiat purchased a 50% stake in Ferrari. This decision gave Ferrari financial stability. But Enzo maintained control over racing operations. This was important. He protected the soul of Ferrari while accepting support. It was a strategic move. Sometimes to survive long-term, you must share control carefully. That decision allowed Ferrari to continue competing strongly in Formula One and expand its road car production responsibly. By the 1970s, Ferrari was no longer just an Italian racing company. It was a global icon. Its red color became legendary. Its prancing horse became instantly recognizable. Drivers dreamed of racing for Ferrari. Fans across the world supported Ferrari with passion. Ferrari was not just a team, it was emotion. In Formula One, Ferrari won multiple championships through the decades. Drivers like Niki Lauda in the 1970s brought glory back after difficult years. Each victory strengthened the myth. Ferrari became larger than Enzo. It became an idea. If you look deeply at Ferrari's rise, you see something important. It was never smooth. It was full of victory, loss, conflict, pride, rebuilding, and relentless effort. That is why Ferrari feels powerful, because it represents struggle. It represents refusing to accept defeat. It represents protecting identity at all costs. Part 3. When the founder grew old, but the fire refused to die. Ferrari had become a global symbol. The red cars were now known everywhere. The prancing horse was recognized in every serious racing country. The name Ferrari meant speed, pride, and intensity. But now something important was happening. Enzo Ferrari was getting older. And this is where most stories become weak. Because many companies are strong only when their founder is strong. When the founder ages, the company becomes confused. But Ferrari was different. Because Ferrari was never just Enzo's business. It was his obsession. And obsessions do not die easily. The 1970s were not smooth years. Ferrari had glory, but it also had chaos. Formula One became more technical. Cars became faster. Safety improved slowly, but racing was still dangerous. In 1976, something dramatic happened. Ferrari driver Niki Lauda had a terrifying accident at the Nürburgring. His car caught fire. He was trapped inside. He suffered severe burns. Many people believed his career was over. But here is what made Ferrari different. Niki Lauda returned to racing just weeks later. Burned, bandaged, still recovering. That comeback became one of the most powerful stories in sports history, and Ferrari stood behind him. This showed the world something. Ferrari does not quit when things get hard. Ferrari fights back. That spirit made the brand even stronger. But while Ferrari was winning and fighting, Enzo Ferrari was carrying something heavy inside. His son, Alfredo Ferrari, known as Dino, had died years earlier due to illness. Dino was very important to Enzo. He was not just a son. He was hope. He was the future. After Dino's death, Enzo became more silent, more serious, more intense. Some people say that after losing his son, Ferrari became even more focused on building a legacy. It was as if he wanted the Ferrari name to live forever, because part of his own bloodline could not. Ferrari even named one of its famous engine lines after Dino. That shows you something important. Behind every powerful brand, there is emotion. Behind every strong leader, there is pain. The 1980s arrived. The world was changing. Technology was evolving rapidly. Turbo engines entered Formula One. Aerodynamics became more important. Electronics started influencing performance. Ferrari had to adapt. And adaptation is not easy for a company built on tradition. Many companies fail because they refuse to change. Ferrari had to balance two things: tradition, innovation. Keep the racing spirit, but embrace new engineering. This period was not always easy. Ferrari experienced seasons of struggle in Formula One. Other teams became strong. Competition increased. But Ferrari never disappeared. That is the key. They may fall, but they do not leave. Then came 1988. Enzo Ferrari passed away at the age of 90. For decades, he had been the heart of Ferrari. The strict leader, the silent observer, the man with dark glasses. When he died, many people wondered, can Ferrari survive without Enzo? Because sometimes a company is so connected to one person that it cannot breathe without him. But something powerful happened. Just weeks after Enzo's death, Ferrari achieved an emotional victory at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. It was as if the team wanted to say, "We are still here. We will continue." That moment proved something very important. Ferrari was no longer just Enzo's dream. It had become bigger than him. It had become an institution. The 1990s were challenging for Ferrari. Formula One competition was fierce. Ferrari struggled to dominate. But Ferrari made a strategic decision that changed everything. They brought in strong leadership and engineering talent. And then, in 1996, something historic happened. Michael Schumacher joined Ferrari. At that time, Ferrari had not won a driver's championship for many years. Schumacher was determined, focused, disciplined. Together with Ferrari, he built one of the most dominant eras in Formula One history. From 2000 to 2004, Ferrari won multiple championships in a row. The world saw something incredible. Red cars leading race after race. Podiums filled with Ferrari celebration. Perfection on track. This era restored Ferrari's dominance. It proved that Ferrari could rebuild, even decades after its founder's death. That is not luck. That is culture. While racing success returned, Ferrari road cars evolved too. Models became more powerful, more refined, more advanced. But Ferrari never became mass production. Unlike many car companies that focus on volume, Ferrari focused on exclusivity, limited production, careful customer selection, strong brand control. Owning a Ferrari was not just buying a car, it was entering a world of heritage, racing history, and emotional identity. Ferrari understood something very powerful about business. Scarcity increases value. When something is not easily available, it becomes special. And Ferrari protected that carefully. In 2015, Ferrari became publicly traded as an independent company after separating from Fiat Chrysler. This was another important transformation. Ferrari was now standing financially on its own in global markets. And yet, it did not lose its identity. Production numbers remained limited. The racing team continued. The prancing horse remained strong. That consistency built investor confidence and brand strength at the same time. If you study Ferrari deeply, you see one clear pattern. Different decades, different drivers, different technologies, but the core stays the same. Performance first, identity protected, excellence demanded. Ferrari does not try to be for everyone. It tries to be the best at what it chooses. That mindset is powerful for life too. You do not need everyone to like you. You need to master your lane. Part 4. The future of Ferrari. Power, money, and the legacy that refuses to slow down. Ferrari had survived wars. It had survived financial crises. It had survived the death of Enzo Ferrari. It had rebuilt itself in Formula One. It had dominated with Michael Schumacher. It had protected its identity. Now the world was changing again. And this time, the challenge was bigger than racing. The world was moving toward electric cars, environmental rules, new technology, new competitors, new expectations. The question was simple. Can a brand built on loud engines and burning fuel survive in a quiet electric future? Many people doubted. But Ferrari does not panic. Ferrari adapts, slowly, carefully, strategically. Ferrari understood something very important. It is not just a car company. It is a luxury performance brand. And luxury is not about volume. It is about control. Ferrari produces a limited number of cars every year, even though demand is much higher. Why? Because Ferrari believes in scarcity. If everyone can have it, it is not special. Ferrari protects exclusivity like a treasure. This is a powerful business lesson. Value is not created by selling more. Value is created by controlling supply and protecting identity. Many traditional car companies were forced into electric technology. Ferrari moved carefully. First, it introduced hybrid supercars like the LaFerrari. Then more advanced hybrid systems appeared in newer models. Ferrari announced that it is working on its first fully electric Ferrari. Now imagine how difficult that is. A brand famous for engine sound must now design silence. But Ferrari does not just remove sound. It redesigns emotion. Because Ferrari knows something very important. People do not buy Ferrari for transportation. They buy Ferrari for feeling. That feeling must continue, even if the engine changes. Now let's talk about something powerful. Ferrari is not just emotionally strong, it is financially strong. Ferrari is one of the most profitable car companies in the world, even though it produces far fewer cars than mass brands. How is that possible? Because Ferrari focuses on high margins. The price of a new Ferrari today typically starts around $250,000 to $300,000. Many models easily go above $400,000. Limited edition models can reach over $1 million. Special hypercars like the LaFerrari originally sold for over $1 million. And today, in resale markets, some Ferraris sell for several $1,000,000. Some rare classic Ferrari models have sold at auctions for over $50 million. That is not just car money. That is art-level money. Ferrari understood something that many businesses never learn. If you build excellence consistently, your product becomes collectible. Ferrari today is more than a manufacturer. It is a lifestyle brand. It has merchandise, theme parks, museums, exclusive events, VIP experiences. Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi attracts visitors from all over the world. The Ferrari museums in Italy tell the story of Enzo, the racing victories, the evolution of engineering. This expands the emotional connection, because Ferrari understands something very powerful. A brand must live in people's imagination, not only in their garage. Now let's step back. Look at the full journey. A boy watches a race. He feels something. He refuses to let that feeling die. He builds a racing team. He leaves comfort. He faces war. He builds his own company. He fights Ford. He loses drivers. He loses his son. He ages. He dies. But the company continues. Ferrari becomes global. It becomes profitable. It becomes iconic. It adapts to technology. It moves toward electric. It protects its identity. And today, Ferrari is not just a car brand. It is a symbol of discipline, excellence, control, identity, long-term thinking. Ferrari teaches one powerful truth. If you protect your standards, your name becomes valuable. If you lower your standards, your name becomes cheap. Enzo Ferrari did not chase volume. He chased greatness, and greatness built value. You may never build a supercar. You may never own a Ferrari. But you can apply the Ferrari mindset. Be limited in what you accept. Be selective about your standards. Protect your identity. Do not try to please everyone. Do not try to be cheap. Build something so strong that people respect it. Ferrari took more than 70 years to become what it is today. That is not luck. That is consistency. And while listening to this full story, you did something powerful too. You practiced English for a long time. You followed history in simple language. You learned business ideas, emotional lessons, and vocabulary naturally. That is how real English improvement happens, through stories. So here are 5 motivational and inspirational lessons from the Ferrari journey, explained in very simple, clear English. 1. Protect your standards. Like Ferrari protects its brand. Ferrari never tried to please everyone. It never tried to become cheap. It never tried to become common. It never tried to compete with normal car companies. It stayed rare. It stayed selective. It stayed premium. That is why it became powerful. Many people destroy their own value because they lower their standards. They accept anything. They say yes to everyone. They try to fit everywhere. But Ferrari teaches us, if you protect your standards, your value increases. If you protect your identity, people respect you. In life, do not try to be everywhere. Be excellent somewhere. 2. Pain can build power. Enzo Ferrari lost his father. He lost his brother. He lost his son. He saw drivers die in racing accidents. He faced financial pressure. He faced rejection. He could have broken. But he became sharper. Pain did not destroy him. Pain built him. Many people stop when life becomes difficult. But Ferrari teaches, your hardest moments can become your strongest foundation. Do not run from pain. Use it. Let it make you serious. Let it make you disciplined. Let it make you focused. 3. Consistency creates immortality. Ferrari has been in Formula One since 1950. Decade after decade, win or lose, they stayed. That consistency built respect. Success is not one victory. Success is staying in the game long enough to become legendary. Many people quit too early. They start something. They fail once. They stop. Ferrari teaches, stay. Even when it's hard. Even when you lose. Even when others doubt you. Consistency is more powerful than talent. 4. Scarcity creates value. Ferrari produces limited cars, even though demand is high. Because when something is rare, it becomes valuable. This applies to life too. Your time is valuable when you don't waste it. Your words are powerful when you don't talk too much. Your energy is respected when you don't give it to everyone. Do not make yourself cheap by being available for everything. Protect your time. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. That is how you increase your value. 5. Build something bigger than yourself. Enzo Ferrari died in 1988. But Ferrari did not die. Because he built a system, a culture, a standard, a legacy. That is the highest level of success. Not just earning money, not just becoming famous, but building something that continues after you are gone. In your own life, ask yourself, are you building something that will last? Are you building habits, skills, character, impact? Because true greatness is not about attention. It is about longevity. The Ferrari story is not about cars. It is about refusing to live small. It is about protecting your identity. It is about staying consistent when others quit. It is about turning pain into power. It is about choosing excellence over comfort. Ferrari did not become legendary overnight. It took decades of discipline, decades of pressure, decades of focus. And that is why it became priceless. Now think about your own life. Maybe you are not building a supercar, but you are building something. Your future, your skills, your confidence, your English, your mindset. Do not rush it. Do not lower your standards. Do not quit too early. Be like Ferrari. Rare, disciplined, consistent, focused, unapologetically excellent. Because one day, if you stay strong long enough, your name can become valuable too. And that is the